So the next, the final keynote for the Destination India is from Air India, the Maharajas of the Skies. They did have a bit of a rough weather over the years, with now the restructuring of the finance and with the petrol fuel coming to some kind of a stability. I think I see certain greener pastures for Air India. So I would welcome Mr. Venkat, Advisor Finance to Air India, to give us the perspective from Air India point of view. Mr. Venkat, welcome.
For over 8 decades, Air India has proudly served as India's flagship carrier. Yet, equally pride-worthy are its efforts towards a cleaner and greener planet.
Air India, being the national flag carrier, is fully committed to the environment management system. In fact, besides the corporate safety policy, the corporate quality policy, we have our own corporate environment policy. Air India is fully committed to reduce carbon emissions, to reduce noise, to reduce pollution from other sources, to reduce fuel consumption, and to reduce consumption of natural resources.
Perhaps best reflected in the acquisition of over 20 Boeing 787 Dreamliners, the world's most technologically advanced and environmentally efficient aircraft, consuming 20% less fuel, producing 20% fewer carbon emissions, and even 60% noise reduction. From build to operation, it is Mother Nature's favorite aircraft. Overall, Air India's young fleet has saved 387 million kilograms of fuel since 2008 and reduced a whopping 1,200 million kilograms of carbon dioxide. At every level, Air India is working hard at energy conservation. Beginning with flight operations, flight crew and ground personnel are sensitized to save fuel at every stage. At the flight planning and dispatch section, a new system has been commissioned that precisely calibrates the most fuel-efficient route. In the engineering and maintenance section, engine core wash is undertaken to reduce emissions by equipment that recycles water and conserves power. On board, the in-flight department is constantly looking at ways to reduce in-flight weight. From catering to cutlery to water and material carriage, in the air and on the ground too, Air India is doing all it can for a greener planet. The Air India offices are going distinctly green through efficient lighting systems, avoiding system losses and monitoring air quality. Paperless offices, paperless ticketing too, groundwater recharging, battery-operated ground transportation. Air India's waste material is handed to authorized agencies for recycling, reuse and proper disposal. Air India, always going beyond the call of duty. In commemoration of World Environment Day, environment awareness campaigns, tree plantation drives, no plastic bag days, no car days, Swachh Bharat initiatives, a green present that sets the stage for a greener future.
For our future projects, Air India is also looking at harnessing solar power, water harvesting, also looking at use of biofuels and doing energy audits.
Air India's environmental initiatives have earned the most prestigious awards. Air India is the first airline in India to obtain the IATA Environment Assessment Stage 1 certification. India's pride in the air and on the ground.
Air India is fully committed to save the environment.
Air India, committed to a greener planet.
Yeah, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, I landed here in San Francisco early today morning at 1 o'clock after a 16.5-hour journey on a non-stop flight from Mumbai. But I think looking at the enthusiasm here, the speakers have generated, I think it has kept me awake really great. We have actually a small capsule from the chairman and managing director, which we are trying to play. And if it starts, then I will commence this thing.
When everything seems to be going against you, remember that the aeroplane takes off against the wind, not with it. As head of India's national carrier, Air India, I find a lot of solace in these words of Henry Ford, founder of Ford Motor Company, to aptly sum up the spirit of entrepreneurship that has been changing the world since the dawn of civilization. Yes, entrepreneurs dream, entrepreneurs change, and entrepreneurs inspire. It is this cocktail of dream and inspiration that brings about a change. Amidst all the respected industry luminaries, seasoned executives, legendary technocrats, and management gurus, I would like to assert that perhaps running an airline successfully, bringing it back from turbulence to clear skies, facing all the challenges, and that too especially for a public sector organization, is a task which is not easy. It is a task which can only be met by tremendous innovation, tremendous hard work, tremendous inspiration, introspection, and looking after our own men, the human resource, the entire team. Air India, India's national carrier, it started way back in the 1930s, when a nation shrugged off its slumber and started flapping its wings to soar high. The wings of the nation have been spreading far and wide ever since, and Air India has been growing. It has been connecting India. It has been connecting India to the world. Generations of air travelers in India and overseas have been making Air India their preferred airline. The endearing Maharaja, which everyone recognizes all over the world, the airline's mascot, it symbolizes a service. It actually tells that, well, I am not a Maharaja. It is a passenger who is a Maharaja. That is what he conveys. And Air India pioneered aviation in India. It has started aviation in India and carved for itself a special place in India's aviation history. Over the years, the airline has kept pace with trends and technology and has constantly evolved in sync with the changing times and the needs of the traveling public. The massive infrastructure Air India has built over the years, its engineering and maintenance facilities, its quest for self-excellence, its well-equipped training schools and simulators and ground handling facilities and the works, its offices all over the country, they help to keep its men and material in top gear. But we are also young at heart. We have got a fleet of 136. We have got Dreamliners, almost 21 Dreamliners, B777s, A320 families, the CRJ and the ATRs. And the fleet is one of the youngest in the world. We have to live to the responsibility entrusted upon us by India. The expectations which are bestowed upon us by the government of India and the people of India, and living up to our responsibility. We are connecting every corner of India and attempting to connect India with many places in the world. We fly to 69 destinations within India and 41 overseas. And these 41 overseas are spread across the USA, Australia, Europe, Far and Southeast Asia and the Gulf. And we have been introducing new flights. And recently we introduced one of the world's longest non-stop flights connecting India with San Francisco. We are a member of Star Alliance, one of the most important aviation partnerships in the world. We joined Star Alliance in 2014, the first time an Indian carrier joined Star Alliance. And this has put India and Air India onto the big league with 27 other top airlines and with attendant benefits for the passengers. But there is something very special about Air India. We are the flag carrier, we are the national carrier, we are the biggest airline in the country, we are fairly well known, we are a brand, but our commitment to the nation, that surpasses everything else. And whenever there is a national crisis, whenever Indians have been stuck overseas, whenever we are needed, whenever there is a cyclone or a flood in the country, we are the first to step in. Because we are there for the nation. We reflect the tradition and culture of the country, culture of India. We showcase the strength of emerging India. And we symbolize the sensitivity which India is known for. There has always been an air about India. Air India. Air India is identified with the nation. We are Air Indians. We are truly Indians. Thank you. Jai Hind.
So we just heard the chairman and managing director, Mr. Ashwini Lohani, talk on Air India. And the carrier took birth actually in 1932 to connect India within and outside India. In fact, Indian civil aviation market is growing at a very rapid pace and now ranks 9th in the world. It is estimated that by 2020, India would be the 3rd largest civil aviation market. With a network of domestic and international airlines connecting 40 countries, Indian airports handled passenger traffic of 190 million passengers in 2015. Yet India is one of the least penetrated air markets in the world, with 0.04 trips per capita per annum, as compared to 0.3 in China and 2 in the USA. In fact, the Indian railways carry every day 25 million passengers, and the Indian civil aviation carry 25 million passengers a day, and the civil aviation sector in India carry on domestic network 60 million passengers a year. So, but then there is a growing tendency of rail traffic migrating to air traffic. The development of tourism, trade and travel has contributed to increased passenger traffic in India. By 2020, total passenger traffic in India is likely to touch 421 million. The civil aviation sector of India is poised for a faster and sustainable growth with the development of 100 smart cities, new economic corridors, and more than 50 airports with the expansion of the existing airports. The government is planning to invest more than $120 billion in the development of airport infrastructure and aviation navigation services over the next decade. The deeper air penetration to smaller cities, better connectivity to northeastern parts of India, and higher disposable incomes of the middle class in India is expected to propel the growth of Indian civil aviation industry. The air travel has ceased to be a luxury in India these days. The middle income population of India has grown by 60% over the last 5 years and has reached 270 million in 2016. The consistent increase in the income levels of the middle class in India has enhanced their capacity to undertake air travel for business and leisure. This has resulted in a further growth in the business of low-cost airlines in India, which occupies 70% of the market share today. It is estimated that India shall require at least 800 aircraft by 2020 to cater to the phenomenal increase of air passenger and freight traffic. The supporting aviation infrastructure is being suitably upgraded by building new greenfield airports, expanding the existing airports, and upgrading facilities for maintenance, repair, and overhaul. India has registered a growth of nearly 14% in the civil aviation sector during the last decade. And in the last 1 year, 2015-16, the growth in civil aviation has been nearly 25%. The foreign direct investment in transport during 15 years has touched $570 million in India. And India continues to be a favorite destination for foreign investors in civil aviation sector. In fact, India, with the emerging demand of Indian aviation, This event provides unmatched opportunities for all the stakeholders and aviation players across the globe to have major partnerships in India. India has taken a major leap in working towards manufacturing and make in India, startup in India, and stand up India. In fact, this is aimed to facilitate investment, foster innovation, and protect intellectual property and build world-class manufacturing facility. The open sky policy adopted by the Government of India has given a lot of impetus to FDI and promote technical and engineering capabilities in India, especially the setting up of maintenance, repair, and overhaul facilities.